originating from Northern California to Southern Washington. The Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians currently occupy and manage 9,310 acres located here in Lincoln County, but is a mere fraction of their original 1855 1.1 million acre Siletz Coastal Reservation. We must remember the people of the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians are and will forever be the first stewards of this land, water, and fish. We acknowledge and recognize the continued sovereignty of the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians and honor their ancestral homelands. We are committed to bringing awareness to their history and the existence of the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians since time immemorial.
Thank you, Dr. Gray. At this time, I'd like to establish a quorum by roll call. Tonight we have Megan Colley. Here. Peter Vince.
Here.
Centelia McKinley is excused. Mike Rawls. He is here on Zoom, correct? And my name is Liz Martin, and I am very present. So, Dr. Gray, do we have any introductions tonight?
I don't think any introductions in particular, just really happy to see this audience. I guess by way of introduction, if you work for Lincoln County School District, would you please rise? All right.
Awesome.
So very happy to see so much of our Taft family and district family here. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move into communications. Do we have anything written, Eddie? And at this time, is there anything, any blue cards from the audience? Okay, thank you. Dr. Gray, are there any special recognitions tonight?
Not this evening.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and move to the LCA report. Good evening. Good, nice to see you. Nice to be up at Taft Elementary, my old high school.
Oh, yeah.
Graduated from here.
There's so many people that like stay in this community. It's pretty cool.
Good evening.
Evening. How you all doing tonight?
Pretty cool glasses there.
Thank you. The end of the school year is coming up, but another 10 weeks was pretty awesome. Teachers are working very hard. As noted in the school board report, we are bargaining. So that's something that both parties are working to together to come to a collaborative agreement to figure out what's going to be best going forward for the next couple of years for the schools. Sports is in full swing. As I said, we also have a number of teachers who are coaches. So things are just kind of status quo right now. A lot of really good things happening with the teachers. A lot of learning that's going on in the schools. And so that's all we got right now. So I'll turn it over to Janice.
Hi, Janice Venture, Lincoln County Education Association Vice President. Doing the educator shout outs again. So I've got 4 new ones for you. Jan Dickey at Newport Middle School teaches humanities. And Jan has put together the most adventurous outdoor school program for the 2023. And this person says, thanks, Jan, for amazing inside and outside the classroom, being amazing inside and outside the classroom. I have Melissa Morgan from Crestview, 3rd grade teacher. Miss Morgan is amazing. She knows each of her students very well, both academically and behaviorally. She has students check in every morning with a social emotional learning bulletin board. So she can help them learn at their best each day. She is a team player and provides tips for teachers when asked during professional development afternoons. She's just a great teacher and colleague. Karen Teisel from Taft Elementary right here is the music teacher. More than one at-risk student has expressed to me, the person who filled this out, and to other staff that the reason they come to school and stay in school is due to Ms. Teisel's music program. Ms. Teisel has in-depth knowledge of all her students and has a deep respect-based bond with them and a clear and rich teaching structure. She also runs the TAG program and finds creative ways to support these students. She is invested in our community and our teachers and our district. And then lastly, Derek Robinson at Toledo Junior Senior High School. He teaches Spanish and culinary arts. And his students are, well, since we got the new kitchen, which is amazing. I mean, I'm right directly diagonal from him.
Oh, it smells so good so often. Oh my gosh, so good.
I keep telling him he's got to get the kids to start putting together packages to sell to teachers, because I would buy my lunch from them every single day. It's so good.
Cheesecake the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love it when they bring me plates. I'm like, yay.
Yeah.
But I had one student who came to me and he said, you know, the other night, mom was working late and there was no food prepared, and the student was able to make his own food, his own dinner at home with the ingredients that were available there. And he said, and I quote, "It was lit." So so, you know, Derek's doing a really great job helping these kids. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that these reports continue on, because I think they're really insight into some of our wonderful teachers, and to highlight them is really gratifying for them, and also really just giving us an insight. Yeah, it's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Janice.
Good night. Thank you both. We're going to move into reports. We'll have an area report from Taft L.
Here they come.
Ta-dun. Good evening.
I think we're gonna kind of integrate some student speakers as well, so, and then potentially have an additional presentation from some sixth graders, but we'll at least start with this. So first and foremost, thank you for coming to Taft. We love hosting you all and having you within our beautiful school. Tonight, we're just going to speak to some of the activities and events that we have going on and some of the professional development that we have been providing our teachers at Taft. So hit it, Eddie. First and foremost, I just want to say an official thank you to Miss Ashley Fresky. Last week was Assistant Principal Week and our school celebrated, but Ashley has, I'll try to say this without getting emotional, but Ashley has been my rock throughout the last, well, for the last few years, but specifically the last few months, I've been on maternity leave and I'm back on a part-time basis, and Ashley has been the glue that has held the school together. We have not skipped a beat, and it is very, Ashley has been a huge part of that. So this is just a perfect example. This is one of my favorite pictures, is she's adapting to working with a student who's curled up in a chair. So Ashley curled up next to her and they're just working together. So just shows her flexibility and, what makes her so wonderful at her job. So thank you, Ashley.
So let's give Ashley.
Let's do it. And also, can we give a hand to Miss Foster for being back, because we missed her terribly. I'm very excited that she's back. I also want to thank, while I'm on the thank yous, Kelly Boudry, Sandy Mummy, Tiana Tucker, Katie Barrett, and Miley's Tolan have all done days covering Taft Elementary. So they all have their own little stories and adventures. And one of them I've slid a picture in, but I have felt very supported by our district. So just thank you, everybody who has taken the time to be up here. This year, some of our professional development, we have had a really high retention rate of our staff. So because of that, we've really been able to carry over what we've been doing the last few years and carrying on, which is a really good feeling as a building administrator to know that every year we're just being able to build more and more. So our professional development is developed through our teachers. They're each on an advisory team around our 4 areas of focus. So AVID, PBIS, our math instruction, and ELA instruction. And they use data to direct the professional development that they are designing, and then they're creating it and presenting it. So it's timely, it's relevant, and it's directed by the teachers. We also have used our district TOSAs as well as Dr. Barrett to provide professional development to teachers. So using within our district, our resources that are very knowledgeable. We've have PLCs as well as all the other schools in the district, but ours have really been focusing on priority reading skills this year, and we just keep fine tuning it. And it feels like we're at a really good spot this year, where we've kind of taken a year to go through each of the different phases of the PLC process. And this year we're able to start back at the beginning and really dig deeper. So that's been a really cool transformation with our PLCs. And then also restorative practices has been a major part of our school culture. Ashley will speak more to the details around it, but we have been meeting with Laura Moyman. Last year we did monthly professional developments where she zoomed in. And then this year she's met with all of our staff 3 different times. And we do monthly drop-in meetings. And sometimes it's just Ashley and I, which have been fun to catch up with her in the morning. And other times staff have also joined to kind of check in.
Okay, so the 2 slides, I'm going to talk about restorative practices, and the next one, which is PBIS. The common theme on it is really that it's focused on being really proactive and kind of having a strong foundation to build off, so that if issues come up, we can kind of address them more targeted. So restorative practices, like Ms. Boswick said, we've been working with Laura Moyman. We're well into our 2nd year. We piloted it last year. And really the focus last year was really building the community circles and that strong foundation of community in each classroom. I put some data in there just from a recent survey that we did. Our staff, the participation that we're seeing in community circles is, I can't see it from over here. 65% of our teachers are doing it 2 or more times per week, those circles. 26 are doing it at least weekly, which means 91% of our teachers are participating weekly. And I just want to note that the 8% or 9% that are not in there are teachers that are not in a general ed classroom. So like our music teachers who maybe are only seeing kids once a week. And so they're working them into their schedules in different ways, but just not weekly. So I feel like we have some pretty strong commitment from staff, and that buy-in has really put us into a good position where we can now kind of take it a little bit deeper. So what we've seen is them taking it to the next level with having problem-solving circles where students might lead the way and say things are coming up, and we need to sit down and talk about it as a class and kind of repair something that's happened in the cafeteria or in our classroom or anything. And then restorative questions, which I have little cards. Do you want to pass those out really quick? Restorative questions have been something that we've really focused on with our staff, and really the focus of that being that when these issues come up, we're using common language to address these issues. And so what we're seeing is students are getting used to the language, and so we're able to go through that process faster and try to problem solve faster as well. It really does help repair harm. The second question is really that teacher is holding those little cards that we passed out. All of our staff has them on lanyards, so we all have them, so we can step out with students and ask these questions just right in the moment. We've been using our student support facilitator to try to also facilitate these questions when there's an issue between a student and a teacher. So the goal being that we're minimizing the time of students out of class, so that student support facilitator can step in, prepare the student to have that conversation, and then kind of guide them through that conversation, and then let them re-enter the classroom when they're ready. So it's been really productive and effective, and we're really excited about it. PBIS, same thing, a big piece of it is just having that common language and those school-wide expectations across every teacher has the same expectations across the whole school. Everyone's reinforcing those expectations. And again, that tier 1 is really that proactive piece, where the goal being that about 80% of our students are able to respond to those tier 1 interventions, meaning that we're just teaching lessons and expectations ahead of time and being proactive about what's expected in our building. And then that tier 2 is really targeted interventions and saying who's not responding to that initial lesson and who needs a little bit more support. Currently, our numbers are really good. Again, 80% being the goal for our tier 1. We're at 89% of our students are in tier 1, which means that those proactive lessons are really working. Our tier 2, where we need to have those more targeted interventions, we're serving 9% of our students currently. So they're just getting those initial lessons and then a little bit more support. And then our tier 3, which In a theoretical, ideal situation, it's 3 to 5%, and we're currently serving 2% of our students in our tier 3, what is it? Tier. So again, we're just seeing a lot of success by being proactive and kind of laying those strong foundations and then kind of building off of it from there.
Another area that we are really focused and dedicated at Taft is around AVID. So this year we've really been focusing on the academic language school-wide. So here's just a couple examples within the classroom. Students are, it's hard to see, but there's different sentence stems around math. So incorporating math language and giving students opportunities to talk through the math discourse, which is a big part of our new curriculum. Professional development, where teachers are applying different academic language strategies, PE, music, and then through their interactive notebooks. We also have finished one round of peer observations, and we're about to do another one. So teachers are choosing strategies and observing each other. 2020, April of 2020, we were supposed to be a showcase school. So other schools were going to come, and that didn't happen. But that's our goal, is to get back to that point. But what we noticed was we, as a building, COVID shifted a lot of philosophies, and we want to get back to that open door policy and having teachers watching each other and that comfort of being in each other's classrooms and sharing, because they are doing incredible work in their classrooms. So we want them to share it with each other. Our next upcoming event, we used to do March Madness, but there's a lot that happens in March and there's only 3 weeks. So we shifted it now to AVID April. So our focus is on College and Career Week. So we have dress up days, some guest speakers, we have research projects. So each grade level has a different activity that they're doing. So for example, I think sixth grade is going to research a different profession, and then kind of the track of schooling that they would need to accomplish. And really talking to you about the career aspect in trade schools as well. And then Summer Institute, we will have 6 staff attending Summer Institute in San Francisco this year. Yeah, so that'll be exciting to continue our work down in San Francisco. All right, this one, I will have Mrs. Lupo come and present. Because I'm done.
Slides up here so you can see.
Come on up. You need more chairs, we've got them. Come on up.
Good evening.
Hello. Thanks for having us tonight. My name is Megan Lupo. I'm a 3rd grade teacher here at Taft Elementary, and I have been working with Principal Boswick on our Center for Educational Leadership project this year with our University of Washington representative. And what we have been working on is really working on our student experience here at Taft Elementary, and specifically around the areas of feeling happy and proud at school. And so for our project, we started with a school-wide survey where we asked these questions that are up on your screen. I'm not going to read them all, but they're all kind of around feeling happy and proud at school. And after we gathered that data from our whole student population, I spent some time interviewing students that teachers had said were students that maybe weren't showing they were particularly happy or proud at school for different reasons. And so I asked some open-ended questions, and then we formed a student advisory team. There's some data down at the bottom where that was our school data based on those questions. And then we recently did a teacher success survey that was similar questions, and our school rated pretty well. So with that data, we kind of moved forward. And I think the next slide has, we formed a student advisory team. So each teacher nominated 1 or 2 students out of their classroom for our student advisory team, which is kind of like a student council, but we specifically wanted students who maybe weren't feeling the most happy and proud at school for different reasons. Maybe they were just a little bit quieter in the classroom, or all kinds of different reasons. But we wanted to really have kids who, we wanted to give the kids an opportunity to make a difference in their school, kids who had different views of school, and it's been really amazing. So I brought a couple friends with me tonight. we have Skylar and Michael, and they've been a part of our student advisory team, and we meet monthly. And the students came up with the project ideas that they wanted to do to improve our school, to make it better for not just themselves, but for all of the students at our school. And so I'm going to ask them a couple of questions. I know it's a little nerve-wracking up here, right? But we're going to do it. We got this. So our first project that the students identified as an area that we needed to improve, shockingly, was. Can you say it a little louder so they can hear you?
Recess.
Recess. So we had lots of ideas. Some of them were things that we weren't able to do, like, provide all kinds of bouncy houses and what else did we ask for? Special treats that maybe we weren't able to supply, but they also came up with some really great ideas on how we could make recess better. Do you guys want to share a couple of the things that we were able to do? Skylar, do you want to share some ideas? You might have to lean in a little there. There you go.
A couple of the ideas were getting a shed and new gear and equipment outside for other students to use.
Yeah.
And
they had some really great ideas on how to do that and how to make recess better with our supplies. So here we are pictured with some of our student advisory team and our shed. There was some drama with the shed. We initially built it outside and it blew away. Thank you, Oregon Coast Weather. But we learned about perseverance and problem solving, and we put it back together and found an inside location. And then the students actually came up with different systems on how to keep the shed stocked and how to communicate with the teachers and students about how to keep it running the way that they want it. So it's been really, really awesome. Our next goal that we're working on right now, Michael, do you want to talk about that one a little bit?
indoor recess.
You want to say it over here so that they can hear you?
Indoor recess.
Indoor recess. So our rainy April weather, I think, is what got us on that track. And they've come up with some really great ideas. They're creating a closet in our school full of donated items that teachers can check out and loan to each other so that there's always new and exciting things to do when it's rainy outside. So I'm really proud of them and it's been really awesome. I think the best thing that's come of it is just seeing them really grow as leaders and seeing them be proud of themselves and how much they're helping the school and their classmates. I kind of took your answer away, but did you want to share something that you feel like you've kind of gained from being in student advisory? Has it helped you at all as a student, or has it helped your classmates? What kinds of things do you think?
It's helped my classmates like school better.
That's good. And that was kind of our goal of going into it, right? Do you want to say anything that has helped for you or your classmates? You're good. Okay. Well, we're very proud of them. I think I have one more slide about kind of connecting. So our CEL project that we did all the surveys asking about happy and proud, some of the things we dug deeper within our classrooms and grade bands. And one of the things that we found was that with third graders in general, their first year at Taft Elementary is in third grade. And one of the things they rated lower was feeling a part of our school community. And one of the things that the sixth grade students were rating lower was feeling proud of themselves. And so the third grade and sixth grade teachers got together and we created sixth grade. It started as reading buddies. And so one afternoon, maybe a week or every 2 weeks, we would go visit and the sixth graders would read with our third graders, which was really, really great for both of them. And it gave our third graders an opportunity to feel more connected. And when they would walk down the hallways and they would see these, big, scary sixth graders, all of a sudden those were their friends and they're waving at them. And so that was really cool. And our third graders even got to go and watch the sixth graders perform in their band and choir concert and show that they were proud of their buddies, which was a really great moment too. So we've got some different things going on with our CEL. And we've had some different grade bands going into different classrooms. When Becca was talking about AVID, having that older student partner with you when you're having to practice some of those tougher AVID strategies has been really cool too. So lots of good things. Good job, guys. Thanks for showing up tonight. Skylar was willing to come tonight in place of a baseball game. He would rather be here telling you all about all the hard work we've been doing. So
Thank you so much.
yes, we're really proud of you.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you. Your passion for teaching really shows. Wow, amazing. Thank you.
Also, thank you, parents, for bringing your children tonight. We sure appreciate it.
And thank you to Mrs. Lupo for organizing. She took her project and ran with it. It's been really, really fascinating to see how it's been developing. A couple other things that we have this year, we've been connecting art literacy with science with local artist Krista Eddy. This year through funding through the Lincoln City Cultural Center and then the Lincoln County Cultural Coalition through the Sponenberg grant, we were able to get funding so that grades 3 through 4 have monthly art and science, art literacy with Science Connection.
Wow.
So, for example, the lesson on the bottom is a mosaic art with salmon life cycle, which connects to the 3rd grade science unit around salmon. Next year, we're really excited. They were able to receive funding through the Miller Foundation for grades 3 through 6. So that was another area when we did the individual student interviews that Mrs. Lupo found, aside from recess, students were wanting more art within their classroom. So it's exciting to see that we're able to connect everything. So, yeah. And then we also have 2 new friends as you entered the gym. I don't know if you guys saw it. We have 2 axolotls named Cooper and Cookie. So Cooper Fitch, who is a Taft High School senior for his Eagle Scout project, created the tank, the habitat. He did quite a bit of research around the creating career plans and then presenting it to students. So at the top, you can kind of see it. Sorry, your head's slightly cut off there. But yesterday, as Mrs. Tolan was covering for me, she was able to feed the axolotl bloodwort, or what was it? Night crawlers? They were worms. Did you have to cut them too? No. Sherry did that. Sure. So other duties as assigned. So lots going on, but they are still quite the topic of.
So where are they located?
They're just right out by the drinking fountain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Check them out. They're mostly out now. When they were a little shyer, but it was Mrs. Teisel, our music teacher, in the morning greet students right there. And every morning there was a sign on it that said soon to come. And oh my gosh, how many? Daily, they would ask Ms. Tyson. She became quite the expert, even though she didn't necessarily want that job. She got it. So they've been a fun addition to the school, though. And then this year we were able to provide outdoor school to our 6th graders. We'd asked some students to attend, but it doesn't look like they were able to, so I can give a summary. We worked with a company out of Corvallis this year called Coil Outside, and they coordinated all of the educational aspect of it. And it was through Benai Breath Camp was the home base, but they also went to Devil's Lake and Taft Beach. And through it, they did some of the most robust courses, such as botany and foraging, navigation, survival first aid, sheltering, storytelling, fishing, animal tracking. So we have a slideshow that I can share with Eddie, and he can share it with you all. But it was very impressive. The teachers were very impressed with the coordination and the educational piece of it. The students were very successful in attending the different courses. They were really impressed with the food. They called it gourmet food. And when I asked more questions, it was the chicken tenders apparently were quite high on their list. But it was just an incredible experience. And we had to do it this last week just due to our time when we coordinated with Dan Coyle's the man's name, but we already are on his calendar for next year at the end of May. So we're excited to be able to continue that with him. So yeah, it was exciting.
So were they day camp?
It was day camps, and we did it for 5 days. And so we had buses that were transporting throughout. Like, it was pretty logistically. It was. They did a beautiful job. Sabrina DeLuggage led the 6th grade team, but they all came together to make it happen. And it was really cool to see it happen. So we'll send you the pictures there. My favorite was a story of they did an activity around habitats, and so they built nests, and then they dropped the acorn, and if the acorn could stay in the nest, then it was showing around the adaptation. And one of our 6th grade buddies at the end yelled, "I'm a success." So yes, you are, my friend. So everybody had a really good time. So despite the weather, which April outside for a week doesn't sound like my bit of fun, but they enjoyed it and they had some time inside the lodge too. So just some upcoming things we have going on. Our parent group is hosting a 50-50 night with Figaro's. We have our Avid April week. We have in May, our 6th grade team is working with the Cascade Head Biosphere Collaborative for a field trip that's called Raindrops to Sea field trip. So they'll be doing some hiking around Cascade Head and Camp Westwind. It's a really hands-on experience. So that will be really exciting to see. There's lots of hiking involved, but they're excited about it. And then we have our Lincoln City Centennial Night. So we'll all be up at the high school May 11th. We'll be working on our time capsules, sharing pictures, sharing experiences. Our Centennial concert, our 3rd grade, my favorite is that they're going to be singing Frank Sinatra. So it'll be really fun to see our 3rd graders perform. And then May 18th, we have our family night, STEAM family night. We also have a 6th grade band concert coming up. And then Ms. Teisel is also the head of our drama club. And so they're going to be presenting a play this spring. So lots happening at Taft.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Lots of fun stuff.
I want to contact you and see what day I can come up.
Oh my gosh, there's lots to choose from.
What's the best day? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Becca?
Wonderful work.
Thank
Just
you.
Wonderful work. So glad you're.
You've got a,
Yeah, I'm just curious about working with the Cascade Head Biosphere, because I know Paul Robertson a little bit, gotten to know him. And so it's a field trip. Are they gonna go hike all the way out to the?
They're not going all the way. I've heard it's about 2.5 miles because at first we heard it was a 9-mile hike. So we had some questions, but it sounds like it's a 2.5-mile hike. And Peter, I'm happy to send you the information that he sent us.
Oh, I'd
that
love to see it. Yeah.
it details out more of their trip, but it sounds like it's going to be a pretty interesting field trip for them.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a unique organization, and it's right here in our backyard.
yeah,
It's, it just highlights the beauty of the place. And I know Paul Robertson really wants to work with schools and get kids to experience that firsthand. So
yeah,
I'm glad you're doing it.
yeah.
you.
We are too. I'm excited to see what their takeaways are.
awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Becca and Ashley. Appreciate it. Wonderful report.
Wonderful report. Thank you.
So much wonderful things going on. It's amazing. Okay, we're going to move into the financial report. Good evening, Kim.
Hello.
See you.
I've updated the financials as of March 31st. I want to point out the orange cells I have updated according to the March 21st state school fund estimate, which is the most recent estimate that we received. And then also I wanted to point out the foster care transportation reimbursement that we received, that 22,000 in the revenue column. The very last number there. That is some additional money that we get from DHS for foster care transportation. And it's been quite a struggle to work with them and actually get that reimbursement. So I'm happy to say we're finally working through that. That is for Q4 of 2021. So, and then our enrollment numbers are slipped slightly, but not much. On the next page 2, monthly comparison. I want to remind you that the projected numbers are based on a 6-year average of when we've received revenue or expended funds. And given the last 3 years were COVID, they were not regular years. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at these. Wanted to point out interest rates. They're actually steady this month, but again, our interest collected is quite a bit higher than we anticipated when we budgeted. The fees charged to grants is, you can see the actual was 0. That was because our grant accountant had a lot of other types of work to do and was not able to get the fees journal entry completed, but it will be there next month. So that number will be likely double what we would normally expect to see in a month. And also that entry is dependent completely on the actual expenditures in the grants, and that can vary throughout the year. So that number can fluctuate quite a bit. Do you have any questions about that page?
Any questions?
I actually do, surprisingly, because we go over this, the Friday before. On the state sources, the SSF current year, that loss of 48,000, would you explain that again?
The ODE makes adjustments periodically throughout the year, 2 or 3 times a year. Normally that would happen a little earlier. They made the adjustments in March. Typically, it is a slight reduction just in the amount of remaining revenue that we have, and it can fluctuate based on lots of different factors in the state school fund.
Right.
Statewide ADMW,
Surprised.
factors that they roll in, poverty data, it just depends on the time of year. So
Okay.
they're just adjusting the entire state school fund for the entire state for the year.
Okay.
It's not that we're necessarily receiving less money. It wasn't much of a difference overall. But it's just that they've paid us more upfront, and so now there's a reduction in the amount moving forward.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Okay. And purchase services, I wanted to point out on the note K that we paid our $45,000 to the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office for the Walport and Toledo School Resource Officer.
Right.
Everything else is pretty much.
And that's our
standard.
half, correct?
That is.
That's,
Yes.
we are only paying half of that.
That's it.
On the special revenue funds, you might notice the special revenues and grants balance that's owed to us is quite a bit higher than normal. It's nearly $3 million. But that is because this was through the end of March, and we have a lot of grants that are quarterly claims rather than monthly. And so our grant accountant will be doing those claims next month. And also 1.2 million of that is our ESSER claims that was recently done. So that should be quite a bit lower next month.
That's good to know.
Any other questions on special revenue funds? On bills and claims, you can see the very top line is the payment for our grandstands. That was a payment made to KCDA, which is a purchasing co-op out of Washington State. So we purchased the bleachers actually from Southern Bleacher, but the contract ran through KCDA, so the payment was made directly to them, and they paid the vendor.
And that comes out of what fund?
Our ESSER funds.
Okay.
ESSER
I
3.
just want to make sure that everybody's clear on that.
There's several payments to DSL builders on the progress on the Queen View Gym. We bought some K6 PE equipment to go along with our new PE curriculum through BSN Sports. They have another Omnia is another purchasing co-op that BSN Sports has a contract with, so we were able to purchase directly from them. And there are 2 payments for outdoor school. Those will be reimbursed at the end of the year by the outdoor school grant from ODE. And then we purchased the sound system for Toledo High School and the Queen View Gym. And our food service funds paid for part of that. Any questions on that
Any
report?
questions?
And then the investment report just shows the interest rates have stabilized for March. And you can see our balances are declining slightly, and that's normal throughout the year. This is where we hold our excess revenue from property taxes, which we receive the bulk of those in November. And so we use those balances to pay our bills throughout the year.
All right. Anyone have any questions for Kim? Thank you, Kim. Great
Thank you.
report. Appreciate it. Move on to the first student report. There's a copy in your agenda. Is anyone here like to speak? Good evening. How's it going tonight?
It's going well.
Good.
Nice to see you.
Me too.
Mhm.
Well, we've been busy doing bus stuff. Same thing, different month. We've had a few things that we did with our group to, team build and help out. And we did a active shooter drill with all a multi-agency at Ocean Lake this month. And first student got the victims together. So we got to spend the day at the school being victims in the drill. And that was quite a thing. And we've got a bus that we're going to put in the Loyalty Days parade coming up bring some drivers in for that and hopefully be able to do a little recruiting while we do a little parading. And we're just plugging along, trying to, get our face out there and any place where locals are gathered, we've tried to get people out to introduce ourselves and convince them that it really is fun to be a bus driver.
Can you guys think about maybe putting one of our 100-year centennial banners on your bus as it rolls through the Loyalty Days parade? Because
bet
that's
we could.
something that we looked at during the last year of trying to use the buses as an advertisement for our centennial, which is this year.
I think that sounds
And
perfect.
we have banners and it would be really fun
Yeah.
to be able to have that. We'll have a float from the district
Oh,
in
nice.
the parade. So, but it would be nice to put a banner on the bus.
I think that would be great. We'll make it happen.
Oh, that'd be great. That
Great.
would be lovely.
We've kind of had a little downturn in some of our staff right after the first of the year. We had a lot of older people just get seriously ill and leave, but we've brought in quite a few new faces, and we've got a few more in the pipeline. And we found out recently earlier this week that they keep track of our progress when we're like, if an application comes in, the time that it sits, and collects dust. And we were one of the top rated ones in our region for moving on things and getting things progressed, so, I'm just going to keep it up and keep digging.
I'm always recruiting for you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Dalen? I love your report. It's really fun to read.
All right. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank
a
you
lot.
so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Please feel free to not stay for the meeting. We know you guys are up at the crack of dawn.
We have a beautiful report from Sodexo from Patty from Food Services, and Patty's here.
Great.
Hi, Patty. Thank you. I love this newsletter. It's just awesome job,
We
Jamie.
appreciate
It's fun to read. I mean, it's just like great things that are happening, and really appreciate all your efforts. Amazing. So we're gonna go ahead and move down to board reports.
Could I ask a question first?
Yeah.
So Jamie, you testified. And how were you received?
I'm not sure, because we were in the middle of a meeting, and so
We were.
everyone paused. I testified for my minute and a half, and then I unpaused and turned the meeting off. So,
Oh, okay.
but that group is actually coming to Newport for roundabout tour. And so some of our local teachers and hopefully students are going to go testify. I know Patty has already signed up to testify in person and Sarah as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're just asking for the same funding is what we're hoping for.
Yeah, I'd love to see that program expanded and supported.
Definitely.
It's important for kids to have that experience and.
Yeah,
see-
we got to
see their fruit.
Jamie while she was testifying, because we were doing scoring of RFPs
Yes.
and we were sitting in and she said, I have to testify. So I was like, okay. And so everybody got quiet. And then we all went silent.
Yeah.
She testified brilliantly.
Yeah. Oh, it was I've never done anything that big before, so it was a little nerve wracking for me, but Kim helped me and Patty helped me with my speech and they all talked me up beforehand. So I just
You did a great job.
No, listen, I think that's really great that you were willing to do that
Yeah.
because being involved in the political process at that level is what is going to bring resources back to our county.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, if we're not making those connections, then
Yeah.
they don't know about us.
We, this morning I was on a Zoom with OSU Extension, and I presented there about what's happening in Lincoln County, and they want everything that we've done because it's basically mapping the blueprint for the rest of the state. The funding process we're doing, the support from admin, which is surprisingly not happening in other districts, and that's really a struggle. And so because of that, we're leaps and bounds above a lot of districts. So and speaking of which, the little pots, our students at Newport Middle School have been propagating these for our plant sale. And so these are for you guys to see, and we will be selling those at our plant sale soon. So stop by if you can.
Right.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
your
much.
work.
Thank you. Collaboration.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna move on. That's okay. All right. Board reports. Mike, do you have anything? Why not? Megan?
I went to a career fair today at Taft 712. So lots of cool student engagement and good questions asked. Ooh, getting feedback. Yeah, it was really fun.
Awesome.
Cool to see students.
Great. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, Peter?
So last weekend, was it last weekend?
Mm,
Superintendent Gray and Director of Secondary Ed, Miley Tolan, and Liz Martin and I traveled to Orlando for the National School Boards Association Conference, and it was a really great conference, not least for the reason that we gave a presentation at a national level, which was
Awesome.
really great. And I think Dr. Gray will talk about that a little bit, I hope. And Liz and I had a small part in it, which was a little nerve wracking. But it went over really well, very well received. And it's great to see Lincoln County at that level being recognized and known. That's really great. I went to a number of the sessions. We all did. They were really fascinating. I went to one on parental rights, which is kind of a hot topic nationally. It was very interesting. And superintendent evaluation I did. We all went to one on civility, which was really good. I went to one on creating questions for board members to ask of staff and so on, which was very informative, and hopefully my questions will get better. And we all went to one on equity in school policies. And the thing that struck me about that one is Lincoln County is kind of ahead of the curve in terms of having a policy, not just in place, but in practice. And that I was really gratified to see that.
Me too.
Yeah. Just one quick thing about Toledo High. April 16th is the due date for the Lincoln County Foundation scholarships. So the students that I've been working with, had the good fortune to work with, are just finishing those up. And I think I had the same impression last year when I worked through Aspire, that the students that are coming out of our schools are good writers. They're sensitive people. I think the future is well in hand. I'm really proud of what we're doing, that end product. So I feel really good about that.
Awesome, awesome comment. Because that's when you see them at those last 2 years of high school, kind of before the car rolls off the assembly line. Right? And then they're looking pretty shiny. So, yeah, it was great. Anyway, as Peter noted, we did go to the National School Board Association, and it was a really great experience. And I felt really honored to be there representing Lincoln County School District. And one note that we took, that, like Peter mentioned, we went to the equity with policies, and it says lead with equity and leadership will follow. And I like that. I like that saying. It's going to kind of tuck that one under to remember. So anyway, again, it was a really amazing experience for me to have. So thank you very much for taking me along. So, anyway, we'll go ahead and move into the superintendent's report. Dr. Gray.
Thank you so much. It is an amazing feeling to be presenting at a national school boards conference on school improvement with your school board. To have your school board able to articulate how you do school improvement in a school district is a feeling that is almost indescribable. And to have the honor of presenting with Miley's and Liz and Peter in a room of 40 people who were really engaged with us. It was fun to be engaging with them. And it just was, I would say, a highlight of my long career. Really just an honor. I love seeing, I don't know if he's left the room, but Mr. Fike was here, Sherman. And Sherman and I got to judge the foodie thing that was at Newport Middle School, and we just had a ball. So Patty and Jamie, that was just another highlight this year, was the chef's competition. What a blast. And oh my God, was the food good. These kids can cook. And then also to get to work with Karen Teisel, music teacher extraordinaire here at Taft Elementary School, and getting to know her through our K-12 music group has just been, again, a great highlight of my time in Lincoln County. Behind your nameplates, the board will see the 5 Ps that represent our equity policy. And so I'm going to go ahead and read them so the audience can hear them. First of all, one of the Ps of our equity lens, it's a tool that we use when looking at policy, is purpose. What experiences contribute to systems of barriers to an equitable education in Lincoln County School District? People, who are the underrepresented voices not heard or served in Lincoln County School District? Place, what are the environmental, geographical impacts of equitable distribution of resources? Process, how are our policies and decisions bringing people in and leaving other people out? And then power, what are the visible, invisible benefits and burdens of the results of our decisions and our policies? And so we put them behind the nameplates of every board member and the superintendent to remind us of our equity policy, that it isn't just some words on a shelf, that it's something that we will use when we are looking at discovering our policies. And we recognize with equity policy that we are here to serve all children where they are. We serve all children where they are. So how they are, we serve them. And whatever they need to be able to have their barriers broken down to a successful and healthy education. That's what we're going to do. And our board does whatever it takes in order to meet students where they are and give them what they need in order to be successful. And that means that every child doesn't get the same thing. So oftentimes we make this terrible confusion between equally giving kids the same thing and equity, which is giving kids what they need. And that's individual. We don't pass judgment. We don't promote or discourage. We take children right where they are and we serve them right where they are. So on to my items. We have a pilot going with Trust Ed, and I'm going to tell the board and the community a little bit about that. The Trust Ed powered program pairs students with district staff who are already making similar daily commutes. This program's an opportunity for staff to earn extra cash as they help solve some of our most difficult transportation challenges, such as McKinney-Vento transportation and many other individual cases. The district is in control, determining which students are transported through the program and then pairs them with an employee driver. This is a program that's going on throughout the nation. We also met with our transportation provider First Student so that we got information from them about how they felt about it. But we've had a really hard time in being able to produce enough bus drivers and transportation to get all our kids where they need to go in a timely manner. We would match up any staff that were living in a certain place, that worked in a certain school, that could take kids home and to school. And there's lots of process in between. And I don't want to get into all the process. That's kind of the role of the superintendent, and we'll figure out all of that. But we had a very big meeting with all the right people. ESD is the one who would be taking care of all of the kind of detailed processes, money, kids, routes, and all of that information the district would not. We would be working with them as a partner. What Trust Ed and the ESD were looking for were 4 pilot districts. We are piloting, Corvallis is piloting Central School District and also Albany. So little districts, middle-sized districts, and large districts to do a pilot this spring with about 10 children to see if that would work. So ostensibly, you'd have a staff member who lives in Otis. They work at Ocean Lake. They have a child that needs to go there. Of course, with vehicle inspections and training and cameras, et cetera, we know all about liability. That teacher or assistant would get paid money to do that drive, and they already go there. And so this is a way for people to earn extra money and also for kids to get where they need to go. Do you have any questions about that? You may have a million of them, but I'm just giving you like a thumbnail today. We'll hold it for now. Any questions like on the face that you're thinking about when I describe this program to the board?
So you're talking about a pilot of 10 kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to start small, see if it works.
And do we have interest from staff?
I do not know yet. It's really new. We haven't advertised yet. We wanted you to know about it before we did it.
Yeah.
It's probably not a good idea to do it the other way. But I'm excited about it, and I like being a pilot. I think it's a cool idea. Another pilot that we have is a lockdown notification system pilot that we are doing with Sam Case Elementary School and the Early Childhood Center. They basically work off the same intercom system, so they're going to need to be a pilot at the same time. There were 2 different systems for the lockdown notification system. And in the light of the news that we've had recently and in the near past, you can see that a lockdown notification system is crucial. We do our drills, we have our practices, we have all of our schools will have a safety vestibule that it takes a double entry to get into with a card. Those are some great things that we're doing. These are more kind of like a panic system that puts out an automatic notification if there's an intruder. This would also send direct messages instantly to police, sheriff, and fire. We're looking at a system called SMED. There's a lot of details to this. I don't want to make your head swim with this. There are some grants available through the state. The grant is due May 10th for part 1, May 17th for part 2. It is for $500,000 and would require a 25% cash match. In-kind matching is not allowed. There will be 235 awards nationwide. This must be a federal grant, probably not a state grant. And the grants will be announced September of 2023. We're really interested in this for all of our buildings, but we want to do a pilot first to see how it works and what it costs. It does not require a separate server like we thought. It requires upgrading a current server. So that's a lot less money than I thought it was going to be. We're working with our tech department, notably with Brian Fresky, our new tech director. And we'll be working with Sue Graves, our safety manager, Susan Van Loo, assistant superintendent, Kim Cusick, our business director, and anybody else. So Sam Case Elementary School needed a new intercom system desperately. And it's connected to the ECC, which also desperately needs one. They were the most desperate school. And so we're going to make sure that they get theirs first. And that'll happen over the summer. If it works, we really want to have a grant to put that in at all of our schools. We want to keep kids safe, and we're doing the best we can. There will also be a state Homeland Security grant competition announced even after that. So we think that there's going to be money for this. But even so, it's a really good idea. So rather than go with a standalone product that costs about 3 times as much, we're going to go with a SMED product that is able to work with what we currently have. And we'll have a demonstration at some point. Maybe in the fall, Maya Elise will arrange for a demonstration with Marcy Doyle over at Sam Case so that you can see it. Any questions that the board has regarding a lockdown notification system pilot that we are starting? Sad we have to do it, but better to be safe than sorry, I think. Newport High School grandstands are complete. We will have a ribbon cutting May 12th at 5:30 at Newport High School. So we would love to have you come. I will not be there. Maya Elise will be there, and she will read a statement from me and also have her own comments, and the board can certainly have comments as well. It is a beautiful $2 million project. They are also getting a building crafted underneath the grandstand, as well as a concession stand as well. They were certainly the grandstands that were in the worst condition in the district, paid for out of ESSER funds. The YV gym is also almost complete. They will also have a ribbon cutting. It will probably be later in May. And the building, if you have looked at it, is a slate gray because that's the color of the concrete tilt-ups. But that will be painted a nice cream color and have some beautiful graphics on it. We're waiting till the weather clears up and it's warm and drier so that the paint will stick on the building. That was a $3 million project that went over budget. And I will let you know how much over budget at the next meeting. That was also paid out of federal ESSER funds. Centennial concerts were mentioned on Wednesday, May 17th. Our elementary concert is at 6 o'clock at Newport Middle School. Please come and support our children. It's the first time we've ever had a K-12, K-6 or K-5. I can't remember. I think it's K-5. All district concert, and it's to celebrate our centennial, our 100 years. On May 18th at 7 o'clock, we have a wonderful secondary concert for you Also from across the district, we have one of our wonderful secondary music teachers sitting here, Elizabeth Soper from Toledo Junior Senior High, who's been helping us greatly in getting this together. Our elementary students will all get performance t-shirts as souvenirs, and everybody gets a centennial kazoo. So it's going to be really fun. We're going to kazoo. So get ready to have some fun. And the teachers, the music teachers in this district, rock and roll. They are rock stars for putting together this fabulous concert. I'm very proud of them. All at Newport Middle. All at Newport Middle. And we will be supplying Rooter buses for people from the north and the south. So we'll be able to have some parents be able to get on, I'm calling them Rooter buses. I don't know what else you call them. But like when we used to send people to football games, we're going to send them to a concert instead. Free buses. You just have to RSVP because we're not going to be able to have a whole bunch of them. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. It may be a disaster, but I don't care. It's going to be fun because the kids are going to get to sing, and I don't care what they do. They're just fabulous in my eyes. Leadership gathering is a gathering that is part of the board's strategic plan for being a convener and influencer of public policy. We have over 60 people invited to the Best Western Agate Beach for Thursday night at 5 o'clock, in which the board will present their strategic plan, land acknowledgement, and get their partners talking about how do we promote civics in public life, and also rolling out the idea for a new Principal for a Day program in Lincoln County School District next year, where our partners can come and shadow a principal for a day and find out what it's like to really be in education. We'll talk more about that at the gathering. And of course, at the May 9th board meeting, the board will be reporting on the success of that. We plan to meet at 4:15 so that we can practice a little bit. Also, Eddie used a new RSVP thingy, like a program, and it's adorable. You click on it and the invitation pops out electronically. I've gotten a few of those. It's really fun.
It's cute.
Super
Good
cute.
job.
Super cute. We are in contract negotiations with the LCEA. It is a full bargain. We don't discuss the ins and outs of that negotiations in open session. We do that in executive session, but negotiations are open. We also stream them, and people can watch them, but they cannot participate in them, but they can certainly watch them. We are also in contract negotiations with our classified union as a reopener for salaries. That's my report.
Thank you. That was quite a report. Anybody have any questions for Dr. Gray? No.
We're busy.
Thank you so much. It is a very busy time, as it is, I know, in all the schools, but I know
Busy.
for admin and for the school board right now, it's very busy. So it's good. A lot of good things happening. It's okay to be busy when you've got good things happening. So anyway, moving along, we're going to look at the adoption consent calendar, has minutes of the board and personnel. At this point, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as published in this month's board agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, that was my wrong.
Yes.
I
So,
want you to know I'm still alive.
Okay, do I
Yeah.
have a second?
well, I just want to
Okay.
mention that I sent a few corrections to Eddie on the minutes.
Okay,
So I will second it with the addition of the corrections.
With caveats.
thank you.
Yeah, they
And
can
thank
be approved pending correction.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Move down to action items. And we are looking at
You can intend to award.
attempt to award the food service management company contract. So we have Kim presenting, and hello again.
And Jamie, hello.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kim.
Required, we're required every 5 years to present an RFP for a food service management company. We're required to do that by ODE. And so this is our year for that. As you know, we received 2 proposals. We had 4 people show up for the pre-bid tour and meeting, but only 2 proposed. There was a clear winner. I submitted the scoring summary to you. It was hands down, no contest. Sodexo stood out far and above the other. The one proposal was about that thick and Sodexo's was like this. They provided a ton of information. The other was very thin on details. So we would like to post the intent to award tomorrow. It needs to stand for 7 days to allow for the protest period, but we would ask the board to approve that tonight so we can post that, and also that we could begin contract negotiations. I think our first meeting's not till the 18th, but I'd like permission to be able to start that tomorrow as well, pending any protests. If we received protests, we would stop those contract negotiations and approach ODE for assistance with our next steps, but I don't anticipate that happening.
All right. That's good. Any questions for Kim?
I do. I have some questions. So, Kim and Jamie, I noticed on the food, nutrition and wellness programs, the team scored their proposal 105 out of 120. That was the lowest Sodexo and all the different areas. So what I'm wondering is, what do you want to see improved on their proposal in that area?
You know what that?
No, I don't.
What's under that?
It's food, nutrition and wellness programs.
Okay, the second one. So we were.
Yeah. we probably just submitted this earlier.
You know, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, this is kind of hard to pull it.
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
you know,
they're not gonna
it
be able to
was
pull
a
that out.
couple weeks, several weeks ago.
Yeah,
So I don't,
that's
I
okay.
know
So that's okay.
specifically, nobody's perfect, you know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there's always room for improvement. I think with the food programs, I guess I can speak to that a little bit. You know, we had a lunch up at Newport Middle School with the new menu up there and with
Yeah.
the garden program, with the food that was grown at the school being part of the menu. And we would like to see that expanded throughout the district. And, you know, currently we don't have that. And so that would be part of it.
Okay.
Just wanting to expand that and also expand more of a not completely scratch cooking, but more of a move that way. And we are headed that way. There are some challenges with that, including staffing and space for equipment and that kind of thing. But that would be why they didn't have a perfect score there.
Okay. That's fine.
Let me ask a question. Is
Sure.
it still being well received up there at the middle school?
Is the food program here? Talk about.
Oh, yes, participation has increased at Newport Middle School since we've revamped the menu. The type of menu that's presented is it fluctuates more and more options, more scratch options. We've seen a huge increase actually in Newport Middle School's lunch program. Yes,
Super. That's all I wanted to know.
Newport Middle School, yeah.
Mike, did that answer your question? Okay,
He said that
Yes, it did.
okay. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing from
it's
here, so.
really hard to hear.
Yeah, so,
How about the new shrimp thing?
Yeah,
Let's get down to the food.
yeah, this is the good stuff, right? And kudos to Mylise for her picture, whatever she did with that. But so we get local farm to school dollars, and so we're able to buy local items. I have a connection through the local trawls, and so they put us in contact with a couple vendors, Pacific Seafood being one of them. We also have a new tuna vendor that's coming up on board. And so they drive the truck from Pacific Seafood up to our warehouse. We unload it. Everything we've purchased is gone already. We just ordered another 30 cases. Our plan is, I think we'll go through that farm to school money pretty quickly, being that the kids loved it, and we'll apply for the max allotment next year, which is probably close to $200,000, and we're going to bring seafood into our schools. So you saw the shrimp Alfredo,
Yes.
the shrimp melts they had, and then there's a shrimp ceviche that is,
Ceviche, what do you
yeah,
know?
it is delicious. So
Do vocabulary.
yeah, all very exciting things that, yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Mhm.
You need,
It's
you
good.
need additional.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was well received. And also as part of our RFP, we required this year that at least 10% local foods
Yes.
would be purchased.
Fantastic.
So there's a big push for sea to school. It's coming across the state, and we're at the sea. So we should be the first on that.
We should have the,
Yeah.
or right by the boat. Yeah, awesome. All right. And thank you. We'll try to get some questions to you earlier if we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
them. So.
Sorry, I
about-
didn't
It's
mean
all
to.
good.
No,
No, it's
it's
good.
fine.
They're good questions though. and-
As a matter of fact, that's one of the points that the session that I went to on questioning said, submit your questions before.
Yeah.
meeting." So
Yeah.
I will do that in the future.
All right. Okay,
On to-
without having any other questions, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the food service management contract to Sodexo. And also, I think I can put this in the same motion, can't I? Allow staff to begin contract negotiations. So it's a motion to approve the contract and also to allow staff to begin contract negotiations.
We're actually approving the intent to award, not the contract.
I can't hear what he said.
It's an intent to award.
Mhm. That's correct.
An intent to award. Thank you.
Yes.
I can read, kind of.
Just to make sure it's
Kinda.
clear.
All right.
That's good.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Thank you. The motion passes to approve the intent to award a contract to Sodexo America LLC and allow staff to begin contract negotiations. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you
Thank
for
you,
your
Teresa.
wonderful
Thank you.
proposal. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
Enjoy working with you.
It's been great.
I'm lost, Eddie. Okay. Moving along, we're gonna be talking about the Wellport property sale. At this time, let's see, is there anything you want to add about that, Karen, right now?
Not at-
Okay. It was, at this point in time, I will entertain a motion to approve the sale of the property located at 265 North Bay Street in Walport as discussed in executive session for the mutually agreed upon price of $475,000 with no warranties or guarantees to the city of Walport. Do I have such a motion?
You do.
Okay.
I so move.
Okay, so moved. Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion passes. Thank you. I want to particularly point out Dr. Gray for all the hard work that she's put together. It's been a couple of year progress to get this, but we believe really strongly that it's in the right hands and where it needs to be. So that's really exciting. Moving on to information and discussion. I believe business services. Kim? Thank you.
So as I mentioned briefly at last month's meeting, we renewed our banking services with Oregon Coast Bank for a year last year. I talked to you about renewing them for another year possibly. With the mergers that have happened with some of the local banks more recently. I would prefer to do a 5-year renewal. We can always change, you can always change your mind if we decide that we need to do an RFP for banking services at a later date during that 5 years. But Miley Tolan and I met with the bank president, the newer bank president. He's been here several months now. I'm not exactly sure the total, but he's got a ton of experience in banking. He also has connection with the education community because he's related to the Hannahs at Newport Middle or Newport High School. But the bank, he just reiterated how committed they are to being a community bank, staying a community bank, and providing resources for businesses, local businesses. And he really stressed the partnership with Lincoln County School District is important to them in being able to provide resources to our local community, as well as they want to provide excellent banking services to us. So that's why I'm recommending that we renew this commitment for 5 years.
All right.
And that'll be up for vote next month. So
Okay.
you have a month to think about it.
Questions for Kim? So did you want us to take a vote on this tonight or?
If you'd like to.
Yeah, I think we might as well. I think it, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to extend our banking services with Oregon Coast Bank for a 5-year period, which would put us through June 30th, 2028. Is that correct?
And also, we would need to further suspend the banking policy DG for those 5 years, which is the policy that requires the RFP.
Got that, Eddie?
I got it.
Good. All right. We all.
As noted in the board packet.
Okay. Somehow I'm not seeing it. So anyway, everybody.
I will move that we suspend policy DG, banking by 5 years through June 30th, 2028, and accept Oregon Coast Bank as our bank of record.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Having none, motion passes. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Good move. So we'll go ahead and move on. We have no public comment cards at this time. And we'll move into reminders and announcements. We have done the budget committee training is yet to have a date. So as soon as we get that, we will let you know. April 20th is a leadership gathering at 5:30 at Best Western. April 25th, we have a board work session at TLC. Our next board meeting will be down at Uquina View, which will be fun. We'll get to see the new gym. And May 17th and the 18th are the Centennial concerts. May 23rd is a work session for the board. And May 23rd is our first budget meeting at 7 o'clock at TLC, and 25th and 30th are reserved if needed be. So got a lot going on. Make sure everybody checks your calendar.
Since the publication of the folder, your budget committee training has been set.
Okay, it has, hasn't
May
it?
4th. Yeah.
May 4th, excuse me, will be the budget committee training. Believe at TLC at
What time is that?
5:30.
5:30. Yeah. So
I have.
it's a full calendar.
Chair Martin, I have 2 comments before we close, if that's okay, and you may have more. And I just want to do them while I'm still remembering them. We have a budget committee member from Walport that is not able to do their service, and we have someone that would like to be appointed, and that is former board member and board chair of the Lincoln County School District, Amanda Raymond. So we had a chat with her today, and we'd like to have Eddie reach out to Amanda and invite her. If the board is amenable, they can just be appointed at this point because we're hearing so late of this person not being able to serve.
Is everyone okay with that? Be awesome.
To interview. or
Awesome.
anything.
She knows
She does a
budget,
lot.
so it'll be, I really appreciate her stepping in and helping us out there. So
And the second thing is at the May 9th board meeting, I'd like to suggest a 5 PM tour of the new gym.
awesome.
5:30 executive session, but 5 o'clock would be a tour of the new gym on May 9th.
Make sure everyone's
Thank you.
checking their calendar because
There's
there's
got to check your
a lot
calendars.
going on. And Eddie, I'll come help and we'll help call people for the leadership gathering and remind people. Oh no, for some reason Lincoln County School District or Lincoln County is not really good about RSVPs. And all the many jobs I've had, nobody seems to know what that
They
means.
just show up.
But they'll come, but they don't know what it means. But anyway, that's all good. Board members, do you have anything else you'd like to add tonight? Great. Well, it's a great meeting and I appreciate all of you being here tonight
Thank you for
and have
coming.
a good evening and thank you so much. Meeting adjourned.